We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
What is going on, everybody? We are back once again with another edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is Thursday, October 9th. We won't be breaking down Dynamite this week because, well, the baseball playoffs knocked them back to Tuesday. So today is actually a news day. They've been flipped Wednesday and Tuesday and all that good stuff. I have an electric crew hanging out with me. Let me introduce them to you. We're going to get into these news topics here shortly, but first and foremost, I'm going to keep this on the West Coast. It's my favorite thing to do. I haven't gotten to do it in the intros often enough yet, and I'm still not over it. But with the newest edition still, but not that new. She's basically a veteran now after, 4 shows? But Mary is in the building. How are you? Happy Thursday. What's going on?
Happy Thursday, WR crew and gang. I'm excited to get into these topics here.
Absolutely. We got all kinds of good stuff. I apologize. I was taking a sip of water there. But before we do get into this stuff, also, we've got one more. I got to send this to the East Coast, to the DMV. It may not be a Tuesday, but still get your twos up for the Tuesday Night Delight. Shadi is here. How are you, my friend? Happy Thursday.
Yeah, East Coast is the Beast Coast. West Coast is trash. Nobody care about California. That poverty. Well, they put people in poverty state. You know, we care about Virginia here. I need the Virginia gang with me. Where's Aunt You? You know, where's Angie? I don't like how we starting this off, how you introduced that. But I am happy to be here, back in full effect. Salute to Miss Mary. I thought you was gonna go in ladies first, but you come in with this territorial stuff. Nah, bro. I don't like that.
Hey man. West Side when we ride, Shadi. West Side when we ride. All day. I do love the East Coast too, though, as you know. I've traveled quite a bit.
I'm the South. If I'm being...
Fundamentally speaking, I guess Virginia
you
counts as the Well, I mean, if you're on the East Coast still, I don't know. We'll get into the science of that on another show. We've got hello here from Numero One Superfly. What's going on, Numero One? Zach Minger with International Beer and Pizza Day. That's helpful with 2 good baseball games and a football game on today. And good to know. Thank you, Zach, as always. We've got Adrian Padilla in the comments of, woo! What's going on? Good afternoon, WR crew from Fernando Zayas. Good afternoon, Fernando. How are you, my friend? He said, this delight is in the house. Yes, no doubt. And then California knows how to party. Yes, we do. And then Midwest in the house, too, my original location where I'm originally from, Chicago, for sure. And the Cubbies do play today, so I'm talking about that, no doubt. And then DCX Warlord ad, speaking of Virginia, the real deal Zeta Steel has announced earlier today that she decided to renew her WWE ID contract. That's fascinating. There we go.
Yeah, by the way,
International Beer and Pizza.
Hold on 1 second. When we talk that, I want to say that for 1 quick second. All of y'all that was hating on me on the Instagram reel from the Wrestling Republic podcast last week when I talked about this Fugazi WWE ID program in independent wrestling, they just lost the first person they signed. Nova's own Ms. Zeta Steel, Muslim sister herself. Respect to her. She ain't resigned. So, hey, I digress. I just got to take my victory lap.
Yep.
When y'all go on the solo cut. That's it.
I would agree. I was there when Shad said it, and I believed him then. I believe him even more now. There's no doubt about it. You were spot on, my friend. But let's get into our first topic here today. Let's talk about Santos Escobar and re-signing with WWE. This is really interesting. He reportedly has signed a new deal. It all happened very fast, which is funny. Off the heels of Andrade randomly showing up in AEW after being cut, fired, whatever you'd like to phrase it as, so quickly, so abruptly. I think there was an expectation that we might get a big surprise of Santos going and landing somewhere else or something like that. That is obviously not what we have. He's returning to the WWE. I think there is room for Santos Escobar to perform excellently in the WWE. I also, though, Santos has not been featured nearly enough on AAA, I don't think, at least to my standards, and I don't see why on that yet. I'm wondering if that was a key Cog and getting him to resign. I'm not totally sure, but I want to get both of your thoughts on it. Mary, I'm going to start with you, of course, because ladies first. This isn't a West Coast thing, Shad. Not this time, my friend. But Mary, let's talk about it.
I 100% agree. I think there still is room for Santos in WWE. I'm not surprised at all that he just ended up kind of caving in and still just ended up staying with the company. I don't know if he did kind of probably see the recent releases like Andrade go to AEW, which, by the way, disappeared already. Just want to point that out there, for a big return and then not be continuously featured, it's kind of a little deja vu to me. So I just think Santos did make the right call by staying.
Absolutely. I think he fits the WWE aesthetic in a weird way, I think, better than AEW, whereas I actually think Andrade kind of fits the AEW aesthetic better than WWE, especially at this stage. With the mask and everything, he's a lot more menacing on AEW television than I think he's ever been on WWE television. I think that is a huge factor in why that return was impactful, given the, how funky the situation was. Tony De Silva in the comments with Santos called Tony Khan. Tony said, "Awesome, we have a spot for you in the Callis family." Santos said, "Hold up." Okay, that's actually funny. That's why I had to read that one. I apologize. That is pretty classic. But Shadi, I got to ask you the same question. What were your thoughts on Santos resigning, obviously so quickly, and what do you think his future role looks like on WWE television? Because he's sort of been everywhere, right? Whether it be winning the Cruiserweight Classic masked, unmasking, becoming Santos Escobar on NXT. Then we have him called up to the main roster. He's been in the LWO, Legado, various groups, leader, non-leader, solo act, tag team member, all kinds of different stuff. Basically, he's run the gamut when it comes to WWE programming. What do you think the future looks like him after re-signing this time?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, power to him. Hell of a negotiator. Make as much money as you can in this industry. Squeeze every single penny that you can get out of it. That's amazing to see. In regards to his decision, obviously, if he deems that this is the best chance for him to have success in his professional career, power to him. I would trust his, vision on it. Whatever conversation he had with the WWE with this contract, I'm hoping this is a avenue for us to see him more of a focal point on their programming. To your point, I've seen him kind of get an opportunity when called up. He's had iterations of feuds with the likes of people on SmackDown, ring leading Legado, breaking it up, having Humberto and Angel Garza in it. But I don't feel like he has kind of reached the potential that I thought he could get, because like you mentioned on NXT, he's been part of some of the best storylines. When you talk about Legado versus the Tony D'Angelo's family recently, I love the stuff that he had with Hit Row. Like you mentioned, the Cruiserweight Classic. He has such a deep bag. He's such an incredible worker. But like you mentioned, the look, the charisma, the being able to cut promos, being able to be a ringleader, like he has a massive amount of potential. And I'm really hoping that we get to see that capitalized a little bit more, since he is staying with the WWE. When news was that his contract was running out and potentially he wasn't going to re-sign, I was hoping to see him maybe just bet on himself and go an avenue and go on a promotion, potentially go to New Japan, become a big time guy there, just because there's open slots there. He can kind of be within the main event scene. Going through an indie run. I love a lot of what's going on in the independent scene right now. Stuff that Shotzi and Priscilla Kelly and other people that were let go or weren't picked up previously in the WWE, and how they've been able to reinvent themselves. And it feels like they are just on a run right now. But, him coming back, if it's what's best of interest for his career, for his financial situation, I know that's like the politically correct answer. I'm going to rock with it. The question about, going to AEW and whatnot, I don't see much of a difference of that than what's in WWE. If we're talking about the landscape of open roster spots, like I know people, we heard in the comments earlier going to make the joke in regards to the Callis family and how Andrade was in there. And I wouldn't have done that to him at all. But it just feels like both companies kind of have a lot of top guys in the men's side. So I'm curious to see, does he get lost in the shuffle? Like, I feel like you can make the same argument with him coming back into WWE. It's just that it's hard. It's you know, it's kill or be killed, man. Dog eat dog world. So, but salute to Santos, man. I'm excited to see him just on our TVs, and yeah, hopefully we do something of significance. If it's AAA, that'd be cool. I wouldn't mind that. I don't watch AAA as frequently. I'm not gonna lie to you. So it's kind of, it ain't for me 100%.
I've really been enjoying the shows. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect to, but it's like my guilty pleasure. I said it like a month ago, Shad. I find it more entertaining than NXT. It's different though, because it's kind of mostly just wrestling, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, you could even put this comment right here that Donnie had. I agree with a lot of that. I feel like he's like way more than just like a wrestler's wrestler. Like I feel like he's a like as much of a total package superstar. Even if like we're comparing him to someone like Andrade, like I think it's the fact that Santos is like, he's kind of like the epitome of a pro wrestler. Like he gives me that feel of guys like we were watching in the you know, the in the 90s and in the early 2000s that can wrestle his butt off, but man, he's gonna go in there and do his job, and he's like the perfect bad guy. He can feud with
No
anybody if you
doubt.
give him the opportunity.
Well, and it's funny because I do have to come clean here. DCX Warlord, this bugs me even more because I did do my research, and the reality is obviously it wasn't technically the Cruiserweight Classic. It was for the interim Cruiserweight title. It was a tournament. He beat Drake Maverick in the finals. He did win a tournament on NXT of all cruiserweights. I apologize. It wasn't called the Cruiserweight Classic.
Can we get DCX Warlord on the next quiz thing that we do?
Yeah, shoot, man. I messed that up. Well, I mean, I called it the wrong name. That was silly of me, which I totally get. This is actually funny. Scripture Podcast said Santos Escobar kind of reminds me of an X-Pac vibe. I'm like, I don't necessarily see that, but it just is a funny comparison. And if they made NXT an official third main roster brand, he can be there as well. I don't think that'll ever happen. I think that as close as we got to that was the year that they were included in the Rumble, and we had like the Keith Lee and Brock stare down.
Why would they be a third? Why would they be a main roster brand?
It doesn't make a ton of sense to me on that one either. But I kind of hear where you're coming from, but I don't know. And then this is an interesting one here from Phenomenal Ace. The ladder match with JD, don't forget, it's still the best match he's had to date on WWE. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that was his best bell-to-bell match on WWE TV without question. But let's keep it rolling here, and let's talk about, since it's a news day, we get to really spend some time on John Cena, so we don't have to get 30 questions while we're covering other topics about John Cena, which is exciting to me. Ask all your questions, my friends. Comment section, come alive. It's your time right now. Anything you want to know about Cena? No, but he posts a photo of The Miz, and I'm fired up about this because when the retirement tour started, had The Miz on my list of names that were an absolute must for John Cena, alongside AJ Styles, alongside Randy Orton, alongside CM Punk. We've done all of those. I would love Cena Miz. Cena Miz, I actually remember more fondly than I think most do. It tickled me. It was so out of left field compared to what Cena had been doing at that time, and then Super Cena loses at WrestleMania to Mike Mizanin, to the real world guy. I love this one more time. Anytime I think of The Miz, I think of Cena. And anytime I think of Cena, I think of The Miz. It's an underrated rivalry from John's career. It's a properly rated rivalry from The Miz's career. But Shad, I want to get your thoughts. And it's funny because one more thing before I toss it to you. We've had this discussion, and Ben, you and I on the podcast, especially, right? Every Monday about, well, he's not going to be on enough Raws, and he's obviously not going to be on any more SmackDowns to build stories. So with Styles and now potentially Miz, you have two that really don't necessarily need that. The stories present themselves. I think that's okay, but does it feel like a little bit of a Band-Aid to you here, Shotty?
Yeah, I mean, the post itself, a lot of people, even, salute to DCX Warlord, also noting it as well. People thought it was because of his birthday, but if we are talking about a hypothetical situation, I would utilize these last appearances he has on just regular shows, Raw, SmackDowns, and like just creating, instant matches. Let him cut a promo, let him talk, and Miz comes out, cuts a promo, have a little promo exchange, and there you go. That's the main event of the night. But of interest, I guess it's fine. At this point, it kind of plays to the streamline of what John Cena's retirement tour is. It's going against his renowned rivals throughout it all, going against people that he has a historic passed against, and that's somebody that, like you mentioned, he's got history with. And one thing you got to give the Miz credit for, he is a incredible talker, man, and he's gonna sell you a ticket to want to see something happen. And like I mentioned, if you open the avenue where Cena's cutting a promo, Miz comes out, and they go back and forth, the crowd is gonna instantly be it for it. I think Cena doesn't need to lose anymore at this point of the retirement tour. Like, let him go off in the sunset as an ultimate winner. Let him have these opportunities to, look like a super Cena to that point, and let it rock. I mean, I'm not even a big Miz guy. I'm gonna be real with you. He ain't one of my favorites of all time, but I'm not offended by the idea of it happening. Just because it's kind of going with what his retirement tour has kind of been. You know what I'm saying? So
I completely hear you, especially about the being not a big Miz guy. I wasn't. I kind of am now for some reason. I've got like a newfound respect for him late in his career.
Mhm.
When he was at his finest and in his prime, I was not a big Miz guy, right? I feel like he's one of those performers that I look upon more fondly in the past than I did in the present, right? That's at least where my head's at. But this one was fascinating to me because I think both you and I, Shad, would disagree on this, and I'll ask Mary about it too. But Donnie said the only way John versus Miz makes sense now is if John puts him over. Donnie, I usually agree with quite a bit of what you have opinions-wise on things like that. And obviously from booking in the past, you know what you're doing. But here's my problem with this. John Cena, since he turned babyface again, isn't in a position to put anybody over. A win over John Cena, they're handing out like free candy. They're handing out like the ice cream bars after the Rampage when CM Punk returned. It's like first 10,000 fans, you get one. You get a win over Cena. You get a win over Cena. It to me, it just doesn't actually land as much if now he puts the Miz over after losing to Brock Lesnar the way that he did. I think if it is Cena Miz, he's got to win that one. That's at least my opinion. Mary, I want to get yours on it though. What do you think?
I 100% agree. I just don't think John, especially not to be mean, being the super fan of Super Cena, I just don't see him losing anymore. It's like you said, he lost. He absolutely got squashed by Brock Lesnar literally a month ago. So if he just continues the losing streak, the putting people over, that kind of, I don't want to say it because it hurts too much, but that's not a retirement tour. That's like how you said, you can beat John Cena, you could beat John Cena, you could beat John Cena. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not the point here. The point is let him have his happy ending. Let him go off into the sunset without wondering, wow, why did I put so many people over? Yeah. Even though he was the golden shovel at one point, I totally get it, but I don't, it's not necessary.
And I'm on the same page, and that's where my head's at when it comes to this too, because I think here's another thing. Donnie added, John has to put Miz over because he's leaving, and Miz still has value. John's value is not going to change. He's Teflon. It elevates Miz, whose job is to elevate everyone else. That's fine. John went 7 years without a win, and it didn't hurt him one bit. That's a debate for a different time. Here's my issue. I think you have an opportunity given the retirement tour, and now you've made it where it's like when you get assigned a project at the beginning of a semester in school and you waited till the last 2 weeks to get started on it, is kind of what it feels like on this retirement tour. But you had an opportunity to have Cena have a great run, which he did. He won the championship during this tour, during the retirement tour. He absolutely did. He carried the WWE title. He won in the main event of WrestleMania on night 2, whether people liked it or not. Here's my issue with this, though, is you have an opportunity where if Cena goes on a bit of a winning streak, maybe even gets some sort of comeuppance on Brock Lesnar after the debacle at WrestlePalooza, you have an opportunity to put over somebody new and young in that final match. Because I do believe Cena is a traditionalist, and he's going to go out on his back. He's going to lose. He's going to go out looking up at the lights and hearing the cheers and stuff, and then grab a mic. And unlike Goldberg, they won't cut him off at the end of the broadcast.
They better not.
Woof.
No,
But
I agree. I agree 100% with that. Putting Miz over does nothing. Like, I get it. Like, I don't want to tell someone he doesn't have value. To be honest with you, you have value in it, but Miz's value is the same as Cena's value in that same stature as a vet that should put young guys over. I don't think like him getting a win over Cena isn't going to make anybody be like, oh my God, the Miz is the biggest deal in the world. he needs to be going for world heavyweight championships. He needs to win all the titles in the world. Nah, bro. He's the Miz.
Yeah, I'm all over that. I'm with you. Miz has his place in WWE in the locker room now anyway, too. And I think just like kind of even like what Donnie was saying about Cena, I'm like, Miz is already established too. We don't need to see him go over John Cena. He already beat him at WrestleMania. Like, people don't forget, you know? And it's like a long time ago, not recently, but still, people don't forget that kind of stuff. To quote Superbad. But with that, I've got a couple of quick ads to read for you. Let's talk about the content this week, because obviously it's already Thursday, but the top 10 show returns immediately after this. So you got something to check out, no doubt. Tomorrow on Friday, you're going to get the top 5 takes of the week. Saturday, of course, you'll have Allison analysis. Check out all of the stuff over here at WR, no doubt. And if you haven't subscribed to our second channel yet, do me a favor and check that out too. Wrestling Republic's Undercard is basically, it's going to be shorter form content. There are a few shows over there too that you can check out. Grappling for Position, sold separately, things like that you will totally love, especially if you love our main channel. So do go check out Wrestling Republic's Undercard over on YouTube. And then last but certainly not least, Barista Coffee is small batch organic coffee created through excellence, authenticity, and unforgettable moments. Head over to barista.com. Get yourself some fresh coffee. Get yourself some merch too. It's a sweet logo. They got hats and visors and all the above. Check that out. But let's keep today's show on the rails, and let's talk about Scarlett in an interview criticizing WWE talks and the way the contract situation went down. I unfortunately had the quote pulled up and have lost the quote. So I'm going to go ahead and try to toss this to Mary. Shad, if you can get the quote really quick so that I can reread it. I accidentally exited out of the thing that I had. Thank you, Shad. I apologize. But Mary, what were your thoughts on Scarlett in this interview talking about the WWE talks being potentially misogynistic?
I watched the CVV interview, Chris Van Vliet. Shout out, by the way. And by the way, shout out to Scarlett. I just want to say it simple. When I first started watching women's wrestling, I fell in love with Scarlett Bordeaux. That is fact. That is fact. That is fact. However, with these recent, kind of constructive criticism that she's been delivering, I don't want to say it was misogynistic, but I'd say it truly wasn't fair of how both contracts were negotiated. And honestly, like what I just said, both contracts, I don't understand why they didn't see them both, her and Carrion, as a package deal. I don't understand. Like they put him on the main roster. They had him without her. It flopped. And then they put them back together. Kind of worked. People were enjoying it. So I don't understand why they never looked at kind of the both of them as a deal rather than just Scarlett, Karrion Kross. That's all I'm saying. I wouldn't say it'd be misogynistic. I would just kind of say overall it was a little bit messed up how it was organized.
Yeah, and that's what's interesting about it when you listen to Scarlett talk about it. It does very much feel like she very much felt that way. Mm-hmm. I wonder if part of it is being tied to Karrion Kross. Mm-hmm. So they view them as sort of a tandem. And I'm not trying to justify how we got there.
It made it seem like she was a bargaining chip more than anything, bro.
Like a carrot, dangling a carrot in front of her own husband's face. Like that's messed up.
That's what makes the least amount of sense to me there. I am totally with you. And that would be misogyny, right? At the end of the day.
I mean, honestly, look, bro, I'm not a woman, so I can't say what is or is not from what she says. I will give her the utmost respect to let her feelings are very valid, how she feels about this particular situation. Like Mary, I watched the interview with them. I thought it was a very informative interview. I think they touched base on a lot of stuff going on with them currently, what went on with the WWE. I wouldn't even call it taking shots at them. I think they just told their side of the story, and how you interpret it. If it comes on a negative standpoint towards WWE, well, that's just how they did business. That's just the reality of it at the end of the day. And to be real with you, a lot of people that want to pick sides, that want to, side with a company that they're, fans of, and I get it, and not the wrestler. That's just that we knew this was gonna happen. A lot of these fans that are avid WWE fans care about WWE and who's being displayed in WWE. They don't care about the wrestlers after that. They don't care to follow Karrion Kross and Scarlett. And it's unfortunate because I think you should. I think you should watch MLW. You should watch these independent shows. If they're in your area, support them. They need it more now than they did in the WWE because now they're becoming breadwinners by themselves because they don't have a backing of a paycheck coming from them. So I think if you liked a lot of what Karrion and Scarlett did as performers in the WWE, support them now. There's nothing stopping you to support them. And for her, I agree 100%. I think Scarlett Bordeaux, I knew about her before Killer Cross, man. I remember she was doing stuff in Impact.
That's really interesting
because Smoke Show.
Even
she
Donnie added this
as well.
Right here with he said, I think it sucks for Scarlett because she has more high-end potential than Cross. But as of today, the company saw her as not having value unless she was a part of the Cross package. I think that's a fair assessment. I think we're all kind of on the same page there.
Yeah.
Which is what makes it unfair. And I'm looking at, obviously we've got the Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux from TNA. I love that.
Shut up, Files. The tennis talking.
This is really interesting from Scripture Podcast. He said, I don't think that they do a couples deal. Just think of Jay, Naomi, Seth, Becky, Bianca, and Ford, Punk, and AJ Lee. Okay, first off, I don't think anyone suggested that they do a literal couples deal.
Show that comment again real quick.
Yeah.
Because I want to show you the glaring difference.
Yeah.
All of those couples that you named are not incorporated with each other as characters. Naomi does her own thing. Jimmy, not Jay, does her own thing. That's her husband, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Seth and Becky, they do their own thing. They've been their own performers before that. Bianca and Montez do their own thing. They are not a package deal. AJ and Punk just came through and they're doing this whole thing right now.
But did their own thing for their entire careers.
They brought Scarlett Bordeaux to be a valet manager for Karrion Kross, and that's fine. That can be a person's role in the company. All she is saying that, hey, I'm still a talent. I feel like for them to tell them, well, we'll get to you after we get to him, that's a slap in the face, and that's very disrespectful.
Yeah, it feels like bad faith negotiating in that regard too, because to your point, when those contracts are all negotiated, they're negotiated individually. And to use Scarlett sort of as a bargaining chip where she feels like she doesn't have a voice in that scenario, that would be wrong. That is wrong. And that's what she expressed. So I think that's 100%. And Donnie is in agreement here. Nobody should be signed as a package. Married couples, tag team, anybody. Every person needs to be evaluated individually. I could not agree more, Donnie. That's just the fairest way to do business too, period. That's almost that's any industry. That's not even wrestling, right? Like if you're hiring at UPS, there's no couples deal. That doesn't make any sense, right? But you could both work for UPS is my point, right? It's one of those things. I think that's like in some ways it's like a morality thing. Like that just is how the world should work.
And to that other point, to this interview also, like I know a lot of people, like I just don't like that there's a perception that they were bad mouthing their former place of employee. They literally were asked, well, would you go to All Elite Wrestling, right? And they said at the current moment of time, they said we wouldn't feel right doing business or taking that opportunity just because we feel so much sentiment and value in our former place of employment, and our hearts are still there. They still want to go back to WWE.
Yeah.
They haven't closed the door to open negotiations. The negotiations can still happen. I mean, people really thought Santos was about to leave, and a couple of days later, he's back in full effect. So that business side is not done. And I don't look, man, you telling your side of the tale is never bad mouth and stuff, man. A truth is a truth. And like I said, how you interpret the truth is how you feel about respective parties. So it's one of those things where, they want to come back into the WWE. That opportunity is not there for them now. So they're doing their own thing. And I think they're doing a wonderful job, man. Like I think, the indies, all of that has been killer. No pun intended.
I'm totally in agreement, but also we've got to do a Mount Rushmore, my friends. Everybody's favorite. It's list time. Remember, we are drafting this Mount Rushmore. Snake drafting this Mount Rushmore, so we can't all have the same people, but this is the Mount Rushmore of super kicks in wrestling history. I can't wait to get into it. The order today will be Mary first, Shoddy second, me third. It will snake draft. Let's have some fun. Let's go to you out of the gates, Mary. Your Mount Rushmore of super kicks. Who's at number 1?
I gotta give it to him. The Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels.
Absolutely, Mary. I gotta admit, it is the most obvious pick. And if you didn't take him, we would have had to have a talk after the show. But Shoddy, for your first pick on the Mount Rushmore, who do you have?
Let me go with a guy that I have met personally in my lifetime, man. Someone who is criminally underrated, currently a TNA superstar. Let me get Dolph Ziggler, also known as Nick Nemeth.
Ooh, I love that pick. That is a solid first pick out of the gates. All right, for me, with my first pick, as far as the Mount Rushmore goes, I have to go with the inventor of the super kick. Give me Gentleman Chris Adams. Maybe an obscure name. Many don't necessarily know him, but he did invent the move. So that to me is enough to put him on the list. Now, when it comes to my second pick, this is where things get a little bit dicey because I'm just not totally sure where I want to go, but I'm going to go with an interesting one. You may not expect me with my second pick to head to TNA, but go ahead and give me James Storm. An underrated super kick with that cowboy boot and everything. I loved the way it was thrown every single time with violence. Underrated super kick there. I'm going with James Storm. Shoddy, picks to you.
All right, just to clarify, it's only individual wrestlers, right?
You can pick them as a tag team, I think.
Let me get the super kick party, the Young Bucks.
There you go. He's got the Young Bucks. Actually, say that one more time for the clip, if you don't mind.
With my pick, I am going to take the super kick party extraordinaires, the Young Bucks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. For those in attendance, that was my fault. I was talking while Shad was saying it the first time, and Ben would have just absolutely
Ben won't clip it up.
Ben would have ripped me a new one about that. There's no doubt in my mind. But Mary, the pick is to you. Who do you got?
Again, if I just didn't choose these two individuals, I got to go with the Usos. Both of them. The Usos.
That is a great pick, Mary. Now, for your, what would be third pick, who do you got?
I'm going to go on the ladies' side of things. Change it up a little bit. I got to give it to someone that she may no longer be with us in WWE, per se. Carmella.
Oh, I like that pick.
I like that pick.
Carmella.
You scared me to death. I thought you were going to pick someone that passed away.
I was about to say, I was like, damn, who died that had a good
I was like,
pick,
who had a really good
Keep the suspense, man. Gotta get the suspense.
That's so funny. Okay. Shoddy, the pick is back to you. Who do you got?
Oh, man. With my next pick, you know what? I got to go with value, man. Hold up. Let me look at the depth chart. We got time on this segment, by the way. So
yeah, we got more than enough time. Take your time.
Ben,
check your depth chart.
Don't get mad at me, Ben. Let me get a team that went against the Young Bucks and had an absolute classic. Let me get the Lucha Brothers.
I love that. The Lucha Bros do have excellent super kicks. That's a good one. I'm going to go with an interesting one for my next pick here. And I'm really excited to take this guy because it does count. And he did throw one, not necessarily as a finisher, but to see a man of this size and stature throw a super kick, I'm going to take Rikishi with my next pick. Rikishi's super kick, underrated. Big man getting the foot that high, always impressive to me. So I'm going with Rikishi there. My next pick, I'm going to stick with big men throwing super kicks. I love a good big guy throwing a good old super kick. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens for my next pick when it comes to super kicks. And that makes 3 for me. So we're looking at your third pick here, Shoddy.
This is my fourth pick.
Fourth pick. Wait, was that my fourth pick?
Yeah, that was your fourth pick.
Okay, this is your fourth pick. Let's see.
Wait, matter of fact, hold up? Did you pick? So you had Chris Adams. Did you pick somebody after that?
I thought I did. Didn't I take I could have sworn I did. James Storm. Yeah, I took Chris Adams, James Storm. I've got Adam Storm and shoot, I just blanked out that. Adam Storm, Rikishi, Kevin Owens is who I've got.
Okay, cool.
So yes, it's your pick. We might have to do a bonus fifth or just talk later. Anyway, who do you got?
We'll let the chat make their picks. I got a disciple of Mr. Shawn Michaels, man. You can't, he had all them NXT kids throwing super kicks out like crazy. Let me get Johnny Gargano.
I love that pick. That's a brilliant pick, Shoddy. No doubt about it. And that leaves us with Mary in your fourth pick to round us out. Who do you got?
Since you were kind of going off of the big men, I'm going to go with a big girl, the queen, with her wonderful super kick boot, Charlotte Flair.
I like that. I'll count it. Count the basket. It works. No doubt about it. This is interesting. Donnie here with Chris Adams, HBK, Lance Storm, and Rikishi. Those are the top four. I messed up on Lance Storm, Donnie. I apologize. I meant to take him and I sort of blanked out there. Rikishi definitely in there. Podcast Grifter podcast with Adam Cole. Cannot believe he was left off of our lists. Rusev has an impactful one. Here's the thing. I thought the same about Yokozuna, but that was mostly to the chest. And Rusev's is more of like a jumping thrust kick. So I don't know. Yes, I took James, not Lance, Donnie. I know. But I meant to take Lance at some point.
That's all good.
I just got thrown off.
I just didn't want to take anybody from Canada. That's all.
Yeah, we're avoiding Canadians at this stage. No doubt about it. I mean, the super kick, as much as it's been mocked at times, as far as movesets are concerned, it is one of the most electric moves in the game. Shawn Michaels is so far and away number one. It's not close. The fact that he could tune up the band, but then also hit it out of nowhere. The way that he utilized it in the ring. Yeah, Mary, your list is off the charts. No doubt about it. Obviously, this has been a really fun show. Before we go really quickly, do y'all have one thing you're really looking forward to in wrestling the rest of the week? I'll start with you on this, Mary, if you've got one.
Well, I mean, just besides the obvious, I'm just curious what's gonna happen this weekend at Crown Jewel. I really want to know like what's the next step after this, because I don't want to say Crown Jewel is kind of like a filler pay-per-view, but it doesn't kind of do anything, I feel, afterwards, unless you're already kind of starting to build storyline beforehand.
It's so true. It does sort of feel like Crown Jewel is in its own universe, and that is a really good point, Mary. I'm kind of with you on that. Like, it feels like it's almost separate from the rest of the pay-per-views, and you never know what you're going to get. But, Shadi, how about you? What are you looking forward to most?
Yeah, I mean, this is a jam-packed weekend of professional wrestling. I'm excited. Obviously, TNA's got their show going on this weekend. We got Santana versus Trick for the title. We got a dream match, Leon Slater versus Javon Evans. Of course, we got Crown Jewel. I'm excited for the tag team match, man. My girls, the Kabuki Warriors versus Io and Rhea. We got some pretty cool matches on that. Obviously, we got Styles and Cena. That's going to be dope. But I'm mostly excited for the night because my Philadelphia Eagles go to MetLife. We got the belt out. BTA on them Giants. Saquon about to get his get-right game back. It's lit. And also, a little shameless plug, man. Ring of Honor. I know y'all don't like Ring of Honor out here in the comments. It's okay. The GOAT is in American territory.
Yep.
The GOAT is in American territory. Saray versus Alex Windsor. I'm excited for that match. I might tune in to Ring of Honor just for that. I tuned in last week just to see her wrestle. I'm excited to see her and Alex Windsor. It's going to be fire.
That will be an absolute blast, and I'm with you. I mean, for me, it's pretty much the same. I'm looking forward to the Cub game tonight. There's no doubt about that. I'm nervous about it, but looking forward to it. And then, of course, at Crown Jewel, the main event is the only one that I'm really super curious about, and that's Seth and Cody, because I've said it all week. And Donnie's here trying to ruin my party. The only Crown Jewel story that matters is Seth and Cody and the fallout with Heyman if Seth loses. Seth can't lose. His back's against the wall. He can't lose.
But then why am I hearing that Roman's main eventing?
Well, it's possible. That's a good point, actually. I didn't think about that. It may not even be the main event.
Bronson Reed, baby. This is homecoming.
That would be fascinating, actually, if that's what it ends up being, and I'm cool with that too. This is another good one though. Slater versus Evans. They better have Daniel Spencer as ref to direct traffic because they'll need a great agent. I'm hoping it's Diener. Yeah, that one's gonna be outstanding. Cody wins. Ha ha ha. Sorry, Clark from Podcast Scripted Podcast. Gosh, I hope not. That's neither here nor there, but it will bring us to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, everybody that tuned in. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow. Of course, that's noon Pacific.
My
3
bad. I
o'clock
just
on the
saw
East
that
Coast.
comment too, by the way.
Yeah.
I thought the Oscar storyline is the best story going into that.
Oh, you know what?
Also,
That's a very good point. But either way, we're going to be back same time, same place tomorrow. That's, of course, noon Pacific, 3 o'clock on the East Coast, 8 o'clock over in the UK, and 9 a.m. for my good friends in Hawaii. On behalf of me, Mary, Shadi, everybody here at WR, thank you so much for tuning in. We will talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your Thursday.